Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show back at it again. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Hope y'all are doing well this week. I know we are. I would say just the mood immediately for me after this weekend of what should have been a spectacular start to the LPGA major season. Kind of disappointing. That's just my feeling. Want to hear
Yeah,
what you got to
super
say
weird.
about it, but
Yeah,
Um, we had the Chevron Championship, and we'll get into the PGA stuff a little bit later. A little bit of live. Mention of the DP World Tour. I didn't watch any DP World Tour. Um, but yeah, let's do the LPGA Chevron Championship, first major of the ladies' season down at Carlton Woods in the Woodlands, Texas. Marcus's part of the world, and ended up in a five-person playoff. Pretty interesting. Ultimately shouldn't have ended up in that way, in that, that type of ending,
right.
with our eventual winner being Mao Saigo, a young lady out of Japan, second year on tour, won LPGA Rookie of the Year last year in her first year. Actually, pretty prodigious on the Japanese LPGA with six wins in a
Yeah,
really short period of time. I mean, really just came out the gates hot. So this isn't exactly a surprise. Um, Again, had a pretty successful year last year. This was her first major, and of course, her first LPGA victory. But ultimately, the story of the day came down to 18 being played in a particular way where, the ladies were throwing, it's a par five that's reachable for most of the players, most of the field, but then just throwing their second shots into that grandstand and just kind of depending on what lie you got, is what you ended up doing on 18. So a very mixed bag, for all the people that ended up in the playoff, just depending on
yeah,
what your lie was. But we saw Area Jutanagarn going into 18 with a one shot lead. At one point in time, she was up to 10 under, but slumped back, ultimately duffing a chip. I mean, I don't know of a better word to say it. It was pretty rough to watch. Seemed like she was pretty quick on the trigger as well, but also watching her later, that seems to be her cadence. Take a couple warm up, strokes, get a feel, regrip the club really quickly, and then just go at it. But that ended up with her being in the playoff, and ultimately losing with the par. What'd you think of it, man? Particularly the play at 18, and I thought that the way they had the grandstand set up so closely to the green was a mistake, and hopefully they do not have that happen again next year and change
yeah,
the arrangement there.
yeah, man. I don't know, man. I just felt like the whole week was kind of really poorly executed for the Carlton Woods setup, unfortunately. Now, you can't even really blame that on the weather because the weather was in the beginning part of the week. It was on
Yep.
Monday, kind of into Tuesday. Past that, we skirted all of that, and it was pretty much good weather the whole rest of the week. Maybe a few days of windy, the wind picking up and stuff like that, but pretty much clear blue skies, low to mid 80s, really good golf weather for the time of the year and for Houston, not too much
Right.
humidity. So, really felt like the course should have been planned pretty good for the ladies. Um, the setup on 18 was kind of janky. I mean, they played it like that on the ANA, but you had a little bit more space, a little bit more opportunity for misses and for, a little bit more space behind the green. So maybe they were trying to recreate that to a certain extent, but, just really didn't have the acreage to pull it off. I don't really know what's going on with that, but sad what happened with Aria. I think she was banking on a ruling like most of the women were, with it being close to the grandstand and just being able to take some relief and, either being on that downhill slope or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you could tell the energy really kind of left Aria. I didn't really expect her to do much in the playoff. If you watched her after she finished her round, did her scoring. Then she was at the practice putting green. Just really seemed despondent. Just really
Yeah.
seemed out of the mood for golf. Just really seemed like, she was done playing for the day. She had this pursed lip. I mean, her caddy was getting the balls off camera. Her coach or whatever, or maybe her dad, I don't know, was setting up balls and stuff for her to hit these
Oh
chips.
yeah, when they were doing the kind of, she was digging down in the rough to trying to replicate.
Yeah,
I guess the
when
same lie. Yeah.
yeah, as Saigo and Lindy, Duncan were finishing and everything like that, and the fourth golfer, Sarah Schmetzel, I think, was the third in the final group. Just didn't really
Uh,
get off to the best start, or maybe that was the second to last group that Schmetzel was in. I don't know. I
yeah,
can't really
yeah.
remember who the third was, but
Are you talking about in the that made the playoff or in that group, in that
I'm
second to
it
last group?
just in the group, just like as
Okay.
that
Yeah.
threesome was coming down the fairway, and they're
Yeah.
showing Aria, kind of doing whatever. I don't know. I really think the play was to go for it. If you saw the layup, you saw Lindy Duncan on the playoff hole. She had to lay up. It was a weird angle one. The flag placement was bottom left. So like it was really risk reward. And if you didn't really sling it in there and play it off the slope, you weren't gonna play a close shot. As you saw, Lindy Duncan probably had like 30 feet on that compared to what she did on the last one where she was hole high and had maybe like 6 or 7 feet on the same angle, pin high and everything like that. So I don't know. It was a risk
I,
reward hole, but not as fun as it could have been.
I mean, I don't think, to me, I don't even think it was very much of a risk hole because, I mean, again, everybody in the field, no matter the length, had an opportunity to go for it.
Yeah,
You know, Jutanagarn hit a 3 wood in regulation to the right of that tree. And still, like she was the almost, probably want to say she was the last to hit in her group with a 3 wood. We saw Saigo hit a cut, which gave her a little bit more room to the right of that green and probably a different angle going in. So in the playoff, she was able to actually hit the green in regulation versus, like, I get it. If you're trying to fly that green, fly the water and go straight at the flag, it's in your best interest to just fly it against the grandstand. It's there, it's available. We saw somebody even put it in the grandstand as well. So, I mean, a number of different ways to play that. But to me, it seemed like hit a cut, give yourself a chance to hit something soft or cut a shot into the green that would land a little bit soft and give it a chance to stick. As we were texting, that was one of the things that I thought was lacking, even for Jutanagarn, who's one of the longer players on the LPGA. There was a par 3 going down the stretch. I think it was number 16, where they were hitting 7 irons into that green, and they weren't even able to get those to stick. I mean, we were seeing a lot of balls leak off to the left of the green or go through the greens. So it's very interesting in terms of spin rates. That would be something I'm very interested in with the ladies, to see the amount of spin that they generate on their irons. Again, just I think if there's a young lady out there, and we've seen that from like a Nelly that has a lot of height on their irons and can get the ball to stop. So when they're playing well, I
yeah,
think that would give anyone a huge advantage playing on the LPGA to be able to have some stopping power on these greens, because that was something
yeah,
that's lacking. And of course, when they're playing hybrids,
yeah.
for
I mean,
some
they
of the
were talking
ladies.
about it though on the coverage. I mean, it was really more course conditions than anything. The greens were playing firm and really, again, they weren't watering, no rain, so everything just firmed up. So that's why it was a lot of rollout on the fairways, and then going into greens as well. So I guess they were trying to put it in major conditions, and you got to
Yeah.
play some short, roll it up. Really check your yardages and stuff like that. It's not like they didn't have the distances. They've been using rangefinders all year, not like the PGA that just got them. So just really, I mean, honestly, I get it with the spin rate, but I think that's more user error than anything. I mean, the Greens were definitely playing pretty tough all weekend, so it's not like they needed to adjust. That was just how they were playing. So I think it
Well,
was nerves,
I
like
think
I told you.
I, I think there is an adjustment to make. If you see that the greens are not sticking, take less club, right? If you know you're going to get a release once you catch the green, take one less. I don't know. Man,
Yeah,
I'm
user
not a
error.
professional cat. Yeah, I mean, and I agree with what you said. It almost felt like somebody had to win the tournament, but I mean, for Lindy Duncan to come down in the playoff, have a bogey, the other three ladies parring it out on a gettable hole again. I mean,
Yeah,
no one chose to play it as a three-shot hole. I mean,
yeah.
there were some forced layups. Let's just say that there were a couple people that ended up. I think Duncan was one that ended up in
And
the
you GP them.
rough. Yep, and then had to lay it up. Totally get that. But in terms of like an intentional, like, hey, I'm playing this as a three-shot hole. No
Right.
one was doing that, and that to
Yeah.
me is a little bit disappointing to play out to the right, maybe give yourself an angle and a wedge, and to be able to stick it close. But look, they were all kind of committed to that strategy, which just to me brings a little bit of luck into the equation. That's just you're basing it on what type of lie you get behind the green.
Hmm.
If it didn't carousel, um, you know, close enough to the ones that were, had the grandstand in their backswing, they were able to get relief. But Jutana
Yeah.
Garn got an unfortunate bounce where hers was far enough to not affect her backswing, and then it was just kind of sitting down. So anyway, I will say this for Carlton Woods, and we touched on this last week. I was kind of saying in previous years I haven't been impressed with the conditioning of the course. It looked really good, presented very well. Seemed like they had really kind of tightened up some of the areas around water hazards. Just looked a little more polished than it had in past years. They've been at this course for a couple of years now. Looked really good on TV. I think the crowd issues persist in terms of out on the course. There's not a lot of crowds following these players. The final two groups on Sunday were pretty sparsely watched. Most
Yeah.
of the crowd density seemed to be in the grandstands around 18. So I don't
Yeah.
know, man. That part is frustrating and kind of takes away from the feeling of this being important major level golf versus what we'll see in a PGA Championship, the U.S. Open. Those type of events have major crowds following them. So that part is a little bit off putting for the ladies, and I don't know how it feels to be a professional playing in a major. To me, the hype and the fanfare is part of that environment, but
Yeah.
it just didn't feel like that.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on as far as if that's accessibility, if that's logistics. I mean, I don't know. But like you can't say it's the course setup and how it plays through through the neighborhood or whatever because at the Evian is so hilly and so mountainous and up and down,
Right.
and everybody's still there supporting, showing up. A lot of fans out there, so it's not like the course is the issue. So I don't know, man. Hopefully they
We
go
know
back
the
to the.
we know the woodlands is flat. I'm sorry. Like we know
Thank you.
like
Right.
the ability to walk that course is not hard. And I don't know if it's like when you say the setup, it seems like there are a couple of areas where the green is on the inside of where like a tee box is, like a let's say the cart path is on one side. There's the next tee box, and then the green to the next side of that, and then like a water hazard. And I don't know if it's just issues like that keep them from getting crowds around the greens or in certain areas.
Hmm.
I have no idea. I've never played the course to be able to say that. Um, but it's just not a lot of people following the groups. And you even
Right.
mentioned that for Nelly Corda didn't even have a group following her, and that
Right.
was significant, which is just bizarre. I don't know. These ladies have done an incredible job of marketing themselves, and we get excited about the LPGA. I know that this is not just us, standing for them alone. I know the
Right.
hype around the LPGA is growing, and I don't know, man. It seems like the most accessible of all the majors, right? When you think about getting a ticket to the Chevron, I would say that seems like it would probably be the easiest major ticket and easiest town, one of the easier towns to travel to.
Yeah.
Um, you know, the George Bush Airport is not very far from the Woodland, so I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't either, but but like you said, they made some improvements to how the course was playing and how it looked and presented. So, I mean, they're headed the right direction. Maybe we can get some fanfare next year as they continue to build and, market this as their first major of the year. And um, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
I really felt like the play at the end really kind of took the wind out of the sails for me as it was. I mean, Ronnie Yen three putted from like 20
right,
feet from
right. Just
going for
blasted that first putt down the hill.
yeah, and she kind of like they zoom in on her, she like blank stares the camera like pretty much right in front of her like no the fuck I didn't just do that. Yes you did. Yes you
Right,
did. And then
right, and
you got
put her
like
pressure on herself to hit that long comebacker.
11 feet on the way back up the hill so you can be aggressive and she kind of like just died it off just
Yeah,
not a it's for a major so I'm not gonna say any left or righter is easy but like you saw the break you saw the putt coming through so you have the
right.
read.
Which again, I think it does, like you said. I mean, nerves come into play. Ronnie Yen is one of the more confident ladies out there. We've seen her,
Already won a
um,
major.
yeah, have the swagger at the end of a tournament, but just did not have it. Just seemed to
Yeah.
not be able to pull it together. Never really looked settled. I don't think any of the ladies looked settled on in the playoff. I will say Saigo, had a really solid short game. I watched a little montage of her chip ins, and I think she ended up with like 3 or 4 chip ins for the week around the greens.
Yeah.
Short game looks very solid. Let's see here. Yeah, my mouse is acting the heck up. Yeah,
Yeah.
Andy, I was shocked but happy to see Yanni Singh on the TV. Yeah, that's a name from the past, and uh, it was crazy. I'm like, dang, I had to look up when she was in her prime because I remember her, with the very fluid long swing. Yanni
Yeah.
Singh was well ahead of her time.
Oh man, the putting is what an adventure, bro. What an adventure. Just completely left-handed now. Putting. Not left hand low,
Right, right.
just on the
That's
complete
how.
opposite side of the ball.
That's why I didn't even at first when they showed her. I'm like, when did I'm pretty sure Yanni Singh was a right hand.
Yeah,
It blew my mind the first time I saw her on the coverage.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, just how far the game has gone. But I mean, when she was winning, she was winning. So she's still going to get these major invites and these exemptions
yeah,
into the field. So hopefully, the game can somewhat return to her because she's still super long off the tee. I mean, the touch is still there. They showed her hitting some crazy fairway bunker shot. I mean, it was like a 60-yard shot, and she hit it to like 8 feet. Didn't make the putt because she's
yeah.
putting left-handed now. But I mean, the game is still there.
Right.
The
That
game is
just
still
that
there.
just shows how far we can fall in the game of golf, where you're just trying anything to make
Just
it work.
anything.
Right?
My
You're just
word.
gonna jig up anything to get at it. The ladies are going to be back at it again this week, playing the Black Desert Classic, which we saw. This is the inaugural
In
playing of
Utah,
this
huh?
tournament in Utah. So we saw the gentlemen
Wow.
play there last year, late last year. So a lot of lava formations or some kind of black rocks. It's an interesting setup. It is very scoreable, wide open. Playing at elevation. So it'll be a fun tournament to see the ladies step out on this course. I
Yeah,
think we've talked about this quite a bit. Seeing seeing the gentlemen and the ladies playing on the same courses, I love it.
yeah,
It gives us a chance to see what both sides of the game hold, and also um, gives us some familiarity, right? I think
yeah,
this is about building up narratives about us knowing some of these courses, especially as we're adding new ones in and trying to build stories around them. That's what makes the great tournaments, is when we know the courses and are familiar with where they're playing. So I'm very intrigued by this one. I
yeah.
love that it's going to be on the West Coast.
I was about to
We
say
have the
timing
guy.
is going to be great.
Yep, the men are playing in Dallas, Texas, or McKinney, DFW area this week at the Byron Nelson. So shout out to the LPGA. We're fans on this channel. Um, I'm happy to see. I just want to see some better golf than we saw in the major
Yeah,
this past week. We've just seen the ladies perform at a higher level than this. So
absolutely.
that's anything else for the LPGA before we get on to the PGA.
No, I'm sad.
All right.
That was
You're
just.
so
Mm,
bad. Unfortunately for the men, I mean they were competing against the LPGA in terms of time and TV coverage window. Apparently, I think after I switched over to the LPGA for the afternoon, apparently the signal was lost or a power outage. I know there was a delay due to lightning in the area, but apparently ongoing issues, and they lost the coverage, and so they went off TV and weren't able to recover, which allowed an opening. I guess if people were trying to find golf, Liv apparently was playing in Mexico City. I wasn't really aware until later, which we'll get into that. We'll talk about the live coverage so far or recently.
yeah,
But PGA Tour playing in the Zurich Classic in New York or New Orleans. Good God. So I'm going to pull up this quick. So our winners here posing with the Fleur de Lis and Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak. We've been saying Andrew Novak has been close the last 3 weeks, right?
yeah.
So going
Shoot,
back
just this
to
season, going back to Torrey Pines.
yeah, he's been playing. He's been playing some really good golf, knocking on the door, finally able to get across it. I will say I get the theme of the belt. So if you can check the detail, kind of the WWE style belts, the belt buckle's a little small for me. They got the wide
Yeah,
band with the alligator skin, appropriate for the bayou. I totally get that. But the belt buckle just not significant enough. We're from Texas, so you got to go
yeah.
like massive with the belt buckle where when you sit, it's completely undoable. So
I'm not gonna
we're
lie, that
lacking
looks
on the
like a
belt
heat pack
buckle.
to me. That looks like a lower back heat pack to me. That's the power mechanism on the front. You just hit a few buttons, it lights up. Red, let you know it's on. So they got it off right now because clearly they're already warmed up. But that doesn't look like a championship belt to me, brother.
That's no bueno. I
Yeah,
will say the trophy is legit. I love
the
the
trophy
the
nice.
the trophy. Trophy is
Do they
legit.
both get one,
Definitely,
or
that's a
somebody
good
gonna keep it
question.
at their crib?
They got to exchange it halfway through the year, right? Six
Right.
months at
Yeah,
somebody
just
else.
come visit. Yeah, just come holler at me if you want to come see it. Take a few pictures with it or whatever. Yeah,
We'll come back to that. But Ben Griffin, he's also, I mean, he's had some chances in the last year as well. Not been as close, but he's been playing a lot of golf.
yeah,
Happy to see him finally get across the finish line as well. Um, let's get into this kind of combined story. So I saw an interesting article about Sam Snead compared to Tiger Woods' wins. So they're both officially at 82 wins. And it went into kind of this committee that was put together to determine that Sam Snead was actually at 82. When he finished his career, he was not that. They went back and gave him some team wins, some weirdo kind of individual event wins with like limited fields, playing against non-professional golfers. But what are your thoughts on team wins counting towards your official like
No,
career? You don't think it should count?
no,
So like
no.
for these two guys, how should this fall in their kind of when you look at their resume?
As a personal accolade that got him an exemption and got him a few dollar bills. I
Yeah.
think this is a fun event that just so happens to give you a little bit of accreditation towards the tour. But as far as an official winning event as a PGA professional that goes under my belt as a notch for a win, I don't think so.
I tend to agree with that. Because it doesn't get you into the majors. It does
Right.
exempt you for a couple of years, but yeah, you're not getting it all on your own merit. I think it's challenging, no doubt.
I mean, how many points do
But
you get?
it's a good question. I hadn't looked that up.
I'm gonna look.
But it made me
You get
question,
400 points.
400.
You get
So
400
yeah,
FedEx points, and then it says the purse was 1.3 mil. Is that a piece or is that split?
I think that's got to be split, right?
You both getting 650? Then you taxing it? So we both getting like
I mean,
630.
it's good. It's good.
I mean,
Oh,
that's
it's
still
more than
good,
six.
but
It's
like,
the taxes are more than 630 for sure. But yeah, after reading that article and how Sam Snead actually was lobbying for more victories, I truly do believe that Tiger Woods is truly the all-time wins leader if we really look
yeah,
at it objectively. Because
yeah,
Sam Snead had quite a few team wins mixed in there. Tiger has none. I don't even know who would have ever been a good partner for Tiger, especially in his heyday. While I think everybody respected Tiger, I don't think anybody was. He was tight. He was not tight with anybody that we were
yeah.
aware of, right?
Well, I mean, the only person that he was really tight with was like the old geezers. Like Marco Mira wasn't gonna do it. Um, I mean, that's pretty much his closest boy. I mean, David Duval, he was close with just because they was
Yeah.
both fighting for number one. BJ Singh was doing his own thing as a number one. You can't really call them homies. Plus, VJ a international guy. Like so. I don't think he really had any. Unfortunately, he was just so dominant. He ain't had no friends. He ain't had no peers.
Right. There
Right.
was no one that it was gonna and when we go through their what's in the bags, I think honestly there's gotta be a better science. I don't know how they end up like matching. Some of these guys are definitely friends, but I feel like for some of the ones who may not know each other, that they do like send out like, hey, here's what's in the bag. Find somebody that may work with, fit your complement your game. But when we get into their what's in the bag, I think they were really a perfect complement to each other where they, especially in the four ball where they're having to go alternate shot to be able to, you know, play off of one another and not have any gaps in their game. So,
Yeah.
defending quick mention, defending champ Rory McIlroy and Shane Lowry just didn't have it on Sunday. Um,
Even par.
got off. Yeah, I mean, got their first birdie on like 18. So
Jeez.
you know, out here having fun. It's good to see Rory McIlroy show up to the event. That is, it needs names. We've
Yeah.
had some people showing up. Morikawa missed the cut, unfortunately. We had a couple of, I think Saturday always ends up being kind of like a no name leader Friday and Saturday. or people that were like, "Oh, who are you?" or you're having to get to know new names. But
Right.
in the wash, I think we've always ended up with people that we've known or been aware of in some shape, form, or fashion. So
Yeah.
let me see if I have any other notes on this before we go into their what's in the bag. No, that's really it. Let's go ahead and get into it. Pull up my slides again. Of course, we showed this one earlier. Right off the bat, so just kind of in line with how their pictures are lined up. On the left will be Ben Griffin. On the right, we have Andrew Novak's What's in the Bag. So on the driver, again, they're complementary, right? So I thought it was interesting that Ben Griffin's playing the Ping G430 Max version with the 10K. I mean, if you just looked at the profile of how these clubs are sold, this is kind of the club for the everyman. Very forgiving. And he's playing this at 9 degrees with the prototype UST Mayuma LinQ shaft. They don't even have the true grams, and you'll see this throughout his shafts. It's like 7TX. And then Novak playing the latest and greatest, the Ping G440 low spin tech at 7.5 degrees. Yeah, with the Project X hazardous smoke green RDX 75TX. Jake Knapp plays a similar shaft. Any comments here for you?
Um, yeah, I mean, Ben Griffin really takes me as an everyday golfer. Like he just happens to be really good and
Right.
accurate. You know what I'm saying? He don't do nothing just like he not gonna bomb it off the tee. He not gonna hit darts into every flag. He gonna trudge along, and then his putter's gonna bring him along. Just like what happened on 17, make like a 30 footer from the fringe. I mean, that's what your moneymaker is. So
Yeah.
this driver really doesn't bother me at all. It's actually
Surprise you.
kind of refreshing, to be honest, that it's like, oh, like besides the shaft, I could order that shaft, not the proto, but like I could order this club and be like, yo, like I play Ben Griffin's club. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm
Right.
Nobody's finna come out and play a 7.5 degree 440 LST like Andrew Novak. Whatever you
You got to
doing,
be
you are on
moving it.
cycle time. Yeah, you are on.
He is moving it.
Yeah, and he plays like a high draw. If you see his shot tracer, like that thing still rises up and it's gonna sling. So, hey man,
Yeah,
the more.
it really does kind of display why he has ended up very close this year. I mean, I
Yeah,
hope that he's able to get like a true individual win here
agreed.
soon. Talented guy, clearly. Let's keep it moving. In the 3 wood, and I will say with Ben Griffin, I think he ended up playing the QI 35, but and he was testing quite a bit. It seems like we're in the test part of
Yeah,
the season. So what they photographed at the beginning of the week was him with the QI 10 at 15 degrees, similar shaft that UST LinkU prototype version 1 in the 8 Tour X, and
yeah,
then Novak in the 440 Max again. We're seeing a lot of people playing the Max versions of the 3 wood from Ping, whether that's the 430 from last year, 425 before that. The Max is a really forgiving version of their 3 wood,
yeah,
while still looking pretty compact by the ball.
yeah. Gives you a chance to
Similar
swing
shaft.
pretty hard. Yeah. Yeah, playing the same shot. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah, I mean,
No, you're good.
these guys are so accurate nowadays. They want to be able to just, pretty much free swing it. So when you get something as forgiving as the 440 max or the 430 max, I mean, it's just an easy gamer to put in. I mean, you don't really have to spec it out. You don't really have to test it as much. I mean, really, it's these guys are so finicky. It's probably an acoustics thing. Like, hey, does it sound good enough? Does the feel off the face with the golf ball I played, does that feel good enough? Okay, yeah, then I'm in business. The numbers are about the same, maybe five or so yardage, longer or so like that. They're so dialed in. They're not really the stats where they're gaining yardage, talking about you're getting 5 to 10 yards off of this club. That's for the hacks. That's for the people
Yeah.
that don't hit it out of the middle of the face every time. That's for the people that heel it and
Right.
toe it. Right. These people hitting it out of the middle of the face, they're gaining 2, 3 yards. Really, their work is I'm swinging faster, or I have a harder
Yeah.
shaft. You know.
And just two quick notes. So, definitely noting the lack of adjustability on Griffin's here on the left hand side. Just
Hmm.
straight glued neck, no adjustability. 15, I mean, it might be turned down a little bit, but would look to appear to be stock. Novak's is actually turned down a couple ticks on the neck here. If you look at it, it's on that second minus sign. So he
Yeah.
may be playing this at 13 and a half degrees. I forget what the adjustability is on the ping settings. I don't mess with it too much, but looks like he is turned down just a little bit.
Yeah. I think they're in half degrees. I think, but there's like maybe 4 degrees total. Little minus is a half degree. Big minus is a degree. Maybe 2 degrees. I mean, I don't know. I think that's what it was last time I checked on my ping club that I used to game. Could be
Again,
wrong.
I don't mess with it that often, so
Yeah, I try
um,
not to mess with it.
let's keep it rolling. So this is where there's a little bit of deviation, and I also again on the extra photos, um, Griffin on the left hand side did kind of play with the 7 wood, and I think this is probably where they were looking like to try to complement each other, and watch any gaps that may be developed between the two of them. So he
Yeah,
ends up gaming the Mizuno JPX 923 3 iron with the Dynamic Gold Tour Issue X100. Really slick looking 3 iron. That thing is pretty.
yeah.
Um, Again,
I
had a
wonder what
7 wood.
version that is.
What do you
It,
mean?
it I wonder what, like, if that's the JPX 923 Tour, the Forge version, or if it's just
It is the
the
tour.
okay. Because
It
I'm
is the
seeing, I'm
tour.
seeing here. All right, okay, that makes sense. Hopefully, he's got it lofted down a little bit more, and playing it more like a driving iron, probably because the 3 iron is still gonna be like from Mizuno, gonna be
Mm-hmm.
20, 21 degrees. So maybe he's got it
Yeah.
lofted down to like 19 or something like that to help with the trajectory and making it a driving iron. But that's
He
probably the most tour stuff that he has in his bag.
I know, but he does remind me of a player that just generally likes to hit irons. That he's a guy that prefers that over maybe a 7 wood. Again, he had
Yeah,
a ping 430 7 wood at 21 degrees in the, I guess that he was testing out this week, but did not
yeah,
end up gaming it. So yeah, I can see him being an iron guy though. But when you look, I mean, I'm looking at some of the other photos with his irons. Those things are butter knives, and we'll get into that as well. I don't have the
yeah,
top line featured here. So Andrew Novak playing the 440 max at 19 degrees at least. That's how it's marked.
yeah.
Again, similar shaft in his woods. Pretty consistent there. So then we get into these irons. The Mizuno Pro S3. Again, thin top line on these. These are
Those
butter
just dropped.
knives. Yeah, nice looking club. I mean, they look bulkier out the back than they actually are. I wish I had more room to show the top line, but they are a butter knife. Look them up, y'all. Same shaft that he was playing in that 3 iron, and Novak playing a bit of a combo set with the ZX7 Mark IIs in his 4s through 6s, and then the Z Forge 2 and his 7 through pitching wedge. I have the ZX7s up, which I like this club. It just looks like a utilitarian iron. A little
Yeah,
bit of help in the back. I'm sure they can move around the weighting depending on the player and adjust that internally on the club with the same iron shaft as well. But what are your thoughts here on the irons?
yeah. I mean, checking out the specs and the YouTube reviews of the Pro S3, it's probably probably the meatiest version of a Pro Club that they have out. But I mean, the looks by the ball are still pure. mean, I would compare it to, kind of like a Titleist CB, but, softer face, more reception. You know how Mizuno does. They don't really mess around when it comes to irons. And Andrew Novak stuff is so cool because I feel like, much like Mike, who's our friend, he's a mutual. He plays for Southern currently. I feel like since I've seen him with his Strixon set, I feel like that's probably the most versatile bag of clubs that the club manufacturers make. Nobody has a
Mhm.
combo set like Strixon. Strixon is pretty much, they have unique sets where they play thicker top lines for the lower irons, and then go into their playabilities for the short irons. Nobody's doing that more than Strixon iron players, to me, from what I've seen. You're not going to see that.
You know who was doing it very well back in the day?
Who?
The Nike Pro Combo that we did not get
Oh,
that
the
had
version
the
right before us. Yeah, the version right before us was a CB into a blade, and it was from 8-9 pitch. It was a blade, and then 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It was the CB version, and I mean, it was the prettiest thing you'd ever see, and it blended so
yeah,
perfectly. But
which
yeah, I mean,
which
it's
that
a
Z
really
Forge
sexy club.
2 which that Z Forge 2 has a similar feel
Yeah,
as that set because it is more of a bladed, less help version of the club, and it
yeah.
it fits right in, right?
Yeah, real hoopers, when it comes down to it, know that Strixon is really like top 3, top 4 iron maker in the game right now, as it is. I mean,
Yeah.
those are
If
those
you
memes
see
you see
some,
on. If you see some Strixons, you
yeah,
know you with a player.
right. Don't bet. If you see somebody pull some Shrikshans out of their bag, do
Yeah,
not bet them. They're about to
this
take
is
you for some
not
money.
right. This is not for fun for them. This is not for play. Like I do this.
They got fit. That is the
Yeah,
club that fits their game.
I got some type of membership, like, or I go on golf trips with the guys. We playing these money games. I'm a mid am. Like, don't come around here with no BS.
Let's see here. There's an old school Bridgestone set with the J33 combos that were like that. Yeah, bring back more combo sets. We
Bring back more
love,
combo sets.
seriously, that are already built like that, not where you have
Yeah,
to piece them together yourselves.
Bridgestone's got some
Let's
good
keep it.
clubs too.
Yeah, no doubt. Um, so in the wedges, featured the 50s here. The Mizuno Pro T1 50 and 56, and then the TaylorMade MG4 60 and the S400, pretty standard. They're both playing the same shafts and their wedges, and then Novak goes Cleveland RTZ 50, 54, and 56. I actually like the rear version of the Cleveland. Shout out to Roger Cleveland. He is actually returning to Cleveland wedges. Spent several years away from the company and is now returning. So Cleveland's
Right.
about to be back on the map, putting out high quality wedges. But I mean,
I don't think they ever really
over
left. I mean, they had those rip
no,
cords and stuff like that. I mean, that's what they do, man. They Jesus, bro. They make some. I was thinking about that. I was like, he's got to play some Cleveland wedges, Novak, because
right?
you go 3 straight pink woods. I'm like, if your brand deals with Strixon Cleveland, where are the Strixon Cleveland? So that's where we're at. He's got 10 in the bag. My apologies, Andrew. My fault.
Apparently, I didn't know this, and I saw the guy, Fully Equipped Golf, talking about Dunlop Sports, which you wouldn't necessarily game a club that had Dunlop on it, but they're apparently the owner of Shrikshon, Cleveland, and putting out some really quality clubs right now. So shout out
Wow.
to Dunlop for killing the golf game right now quietly,
Yeah.
quietly. It's so the equipment today is so damn good. It's ridiculous. Then we get into the putter. I'm trying to rush to get to the ball because that's the thing I'm
Oh
excited
my
about.
God, Chad.
But um, putters, clearly Ben Griffin's been rocking this one for a little bit of time. Scotty Cameron Concept 2 Tour Rat prototype with the Superstrokes Energy grip. And then we have the Odyssey A1 Mill T7, Mill 7 TS. I love the Odyssey. Really sharp, fang putter. I know you like that as well.
Yeah.
It's their putters. It is what it is. Now, the de resistance. I cannot say it. Whatever. The ball. So, MaxFli Tour X. So, I have been playing the MaxFli Tour version of balls for the last 2 years based on a recommendation from my golf spy. They were raving about this ball. It tested well. This particular year, this looks like a slightly different version. The lineup line is different on this one. He's probably got the most recent version and or a custom version from MaxFli.
Yeah.
And then Novak playing the Srixon Z Star Diamond, which the Z Star underrated ball as well.
Very good ball.
Got a chance to put this in play. Got like a 3-pack, gifted a 3-pack, probably about a month ago. So I put those through the paces. I really enjoyed the Z Star. It's a 3-piece ball, really minimal. Like I'm a high spin player, so I feel like it, was a low spin ball. Really good off the driver. Really enjoyable. So both quality balls. If you're sleeping on the MaxFli Tour range of balls, best deal out there. You catch these in the season, you can get a 48 pack of balls. 48, yeah. And a 48 pack, you can get them for like 109 late in the season. So tested really well. Again, on the robots, durable cover. I'd say it's a slight step below your really high level balls. I would say there's some, some compromises, but it's gonna perform just a tick below your top level TP5, Pro V1s, Chrome. It's up there, but you're also paying a little bit less for it. So interesting mix, and I think this next slide tells the story. Yes. So MaxFli is currently a Dick's Sporting Goods / Golf Galaxy exclusive. They're the only one that carries this. You can get it off of their website. It says, so this is from Jack Hirsch on Twitter or X. Not only did Ben Griffin just win with the MaxFli golf ball for the first time in ages, no doubt, but word from MaxFli is that he and Andrew Novak decided to play Ben's MaxFli Tour X completely in foursomes, which is dope, right? To me, that's always the hardest part of playing foursomes if you were alternating balls, because like, let's just say you and I, if we were going back and forth and, we play would play two different types of balls.
Yeah.
I like less spin. And like you were like, hey, just, I was saying, hey, I want to give the new TP5s a whirl. So at first I went with the regular standard TP5, kind of based on Rory and his change. Did I like the ball? 100%. But it was too spinny for me. Good off the driver, not great with irons. I feel like I was turning them over a little bit too much right to left. But put the TP5X in the bag today. Really comfortable with the irons. The feel is pretty similar to me. Couldn't tell a significant difference. So yeah, if me and you were not going back and forth, we would have a hard time figuring out what ball we would play in that scenario, or who's going to be hidden into greens, because it doesn't.
Rod, I'm versatile. I'll play what you want to play. It's nothing.
Yeah, but it's not ideal for our profiles, right? So I think it says something very interesting that Andrew Novak was willing to play, and they were able to get a result with the MaxFli Tour X. So
this is very true.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think
go ahead.
Andrew Novak plays at the Z Star. Z Star is a relatively spinny ball. I'm guessing that's what the Tour X is. It's probably their rendition of their spinnier ball, probably like their Pro V1X or whatnot, compared to the regular tour. Would that be correct?
Yeah,
From
it's I would say the tour and tour the soft one, which is one I've picked up, it are I would say yeah, actually the X is a little bit spinnier. Um so yeah, it's gonna have a few more revs. It's supposed to be low spinning off the driver because they say all the tour balls from MaxFli are low spinning off the driver, but it's
yeah,
gonna have a little more spin with the irons.
yeah. It's just crazy to me because I feel like anytime you hear of a Srixon golf ball, it's you rip the cover off of it because it's got that much spin. So I'm guessing that's kind of why Ben Griffin wasn't really. No, I wouldn't say vibing with it, but I'm guessing that's why Andrew Novak was like, "No, it's cool. Like I'll play the Max Fly." It was probably just a switch up from what he's usually, what he's used to and everything like that. So, yeah, just like
Yeah.
what you said, good on him for being versatile enough to play that, and good on Max Fly for making a presentable ball that can be played by two tour
Yeah.
pros.
That's a big climb back up the ladder, and with Dick Sporting Goods willing to put the our research and development into creating a true tour level ball that can be
Yeah,
gamed and not just kind of tossed aside. So salute to them. Hopefully this will help get them some sales, but also keep the price the same.
yeah,
In today's inflationary times, keep 12 packs at $40 and under. That would be awesome. So
bars.
that is our guys Ben Griffin and Andrew Novak's winning What's in the Bag. Pull this down. Uh, Joaquin Neiman. Let's transition over to Live Golf. Again, what I find interesting here recently, right? So we've seen I would say at the beginning of this year, maybe late last year, a little more acceptance, especially as the deal or a possibility of a deal became closer.
Yeah,
Clearly, we haven't crossed the finish line where we were seeing, headlines from Live on ESPN, Golf Channel actually mentioning that. We got a little bit of tussle in the Golden State Houston game going on. But the acceptance and publishing of stories related to Live were becoming a little more prevalent, right? But I'm not seeing that as much anymore. I don't see on Instagram like, hey, check out the Live, Mexico City event, which occurred this past weekend. Tune into the coverage. Live had always been pretty big about promotion as well, sending out pushing out sponsored ads on all your socials, golf
yeah,
websites. I would see them on the banner ads. I'm not seeing that anymore. And I
yeah.
don't know what's behind that. Is the money slowing up? Are these companies that were kind of getting on board just kind of like, it's going to go away at some point, whether it be through the merger or just them stop supporting it? I don't know. But I truly just wasn't aware of an upcoming event for Live. And yeah, we'll hear about it, especially once they post the results. But are you seeing something similar? I mean, I was inundated the first 2 to 3 years of the league, but that's definitely slowed down this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I did not know Liv was playing this week. I sent you Bryson DeChambeau's yardages and didn't even put two and two together. I'm just like, oh, Bryson's in Mexico City. I wonder when that event's coming on. Like, I did not even know they were playing. I'm not even joking.
Right.
Like, I wish I was being funny and being goofy, but like, I literally did not know they were playing this week. Now, I don't know what has happened. Maybe the boys in the White House got some more important things to deal with. But Adam Scott, Jay Monahan, Tiger, they not up in there no more. We ain't seen the meetings happening. We ain't seen them all buddy buddy. So
Yeah.
wonder what's going on. But
Where's the deal?
right, right. I mean, multiple weeks in a row, we got a lot of momentum going. It looks like it's close. Same verbiage that we've heard for 2.5 years, yet where are we at? Still hanging out on the sidelines,
Yeah.
still waiting to get the call up.
And I feel like it's like the details and how those live players are going to be reintegrated back into the PGA Tour ecosystem seems to continue to be the sticking point. When we kind of hear some of the versions trickling out, that seems to be what is causing the problem,
Yeah,
with people, with them not getting this deal closed. And, are those people still going to have to serve the year suspension? Um, are they going to have to give back money? Things like that, which, I mean, once you get the money, you're not necessarily willing to put that back,
yeah,
in somebody else's coffers. So I totally
yeah,
understand that. If I'm a live guy, are we just waiting for these original agreements to just expire? Because most of them were on 4 to 5 year agreements. Are we
yeah.
waiting for that? Is the league gonna just slowly die? Because I was looking, after seeing kind of that Joaquin Neiman won another one, his third one, this year, which they've only played like 5 or 6 tournaments this year for Live, are, the names at the bottom continue to become like anonymous players that I've never
Where are
heard
they
of.
gonna go?
I, well, I feel like the guys at the bottom are just going to keep increasing, right? I mean,
Right.
there's a distinct hierarchy within Live. There's the guys we know, the stars, the DeChambos, the Roms, the Kepkas,
Who aren't winning?
yeah, who aren't winning. You can still throw Sergio Garcia in there. There's still some, Joaquin Neiman. There's talented guys.
Yeah,
Top 10. Let's call it 10. Let's say there's 10 guys that would easily translate back to the PGA Tour, especially if they were playing more often and getting the reps. There's your mid tier guys, the older guys that took the money because this was kind of like the last payday of their career. And then I'd say they take up about, I don't know, maybe the 60% of the league. And then the bottom half is no name guys that were bottom tier on the DP World Tour or maybe the Challenge Tour. That honestly, we just don't know them. Like the Vincent brothers, I had no idea who those dudes were before Live. Am I very familiar with them? Am I familiar with their names now? Kieran and Scott, yeah, but it's only because they've been on Live. But they also are not competing at a high level on that league as in that league as well. So, I mean, again, it's
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it's just a fucking mess. We're just waiting for it to implode and go
yeah,
away, and then they will be forced into a decision. But a true merger at this point, I think, is never going to happen. We just
yeah,
out here shucking and jiving, acting like we're talking. It's like having conversations about conversations that
yeah,
it's never going anywhere. So it's just interesting that we aren't aware of the tournaments and getting the kind of pre warnings or the hype around them or leading up to it. It's very quiet unless you're following an individual live player and then paying attention to their feed. You have no idea.
right.
So and also the reason that I put live discussion on here is Joaquin Neiman again winning his third tournament in their league this year. But we saw his performance in the Masters T29. Last 2 years, a lot of hype going into the majors for him. He's played well on live going into the beginnings of the major season these last 2 years. And we just
Yeah,
haven't seen him perform when the bright lights are on. Do you
when
think
it
that ever
matters
turns
most.
around for him? Yeah. Do you think that ever do you think he competes top 5, top 10 to justify this hype? Because there's no doubt that he's a highly talented player. Felt like he was really close on the PGA Tour before departing. What
Hmm.
are your thoughts on Joaquin Neiman as a player, since he seems to be their top guy right now?
I mean, realistically, I don't think he has it. I mean, but he's a very good golfer. I'm not taking that away from him at all. It's unfortunate he's not the star of Live. Like they don't pay him like he's a star, but he's the only one that's consistently winning. He played the Australian PGA, won that a few years back. Only one that's consistently making cuts in majors. Only one that's, traveling on the DP World Tour as often as everybody besides Tyrrell Hatton. We know Tyrrell Hatton
Yes.
lives to play golf. He doesn't,
Yeah.
he doesn't do anything else. He has a wife. He plays golf. He don't have no kids yet. That's his life. So we know what Tyrrell Hatton's going to do. But other than that, Joaquin Neiman's the next greatest dude, and he's even on Golf Digest. So it's not like he's not getting the recognition. We definitely see who he is, and we definitely see he be getting out there, and he's a hooper. But I don't know if he ever crosses the finish line as far as it goes with majors.
He's going to keep getting his shots.
Like that. Yeah, he's going to get his shots. He's going to get his world ranking points because he plays in enough of those off-field world rankings events. Asian Tour, DP World Tour.
And they created a pathway, the U.S. Open did. So this third win allowed him to qualify for the U.S. Open without having to go
do qualifying
into an open qualifier. So he is in the U.S. Open because of this, update to the rules for him. So again, like you said, he's going to keep getting his shots at it. But
he's just 26, eventually he's not even 30 yet.
Yeah. He can barely grow a goatee at this point. So he's got a lot of years left to go. As we mentioned in the past, I'm very intrigued by Eugenio Chacarra, defector of LIV from last year, or kicked out, or unsigned, whatever, and what he's doing on the DP World Tour. That kid looks hungry, and I think he suffered from, it feels like LIV. Yeah, like LIV wasn't pushing the young guys, and like you said it, Joaquin Neiman's winning, but I don't see them out there just, and they celebrate his wins, but he should theoretically be the face of LIV. And I know DeChambeau's the box office guy, has the huge YouTube presence, and
John Rahm has the most money and feels marketable and stuff like that. Who cares? Who's winning? Right.
To me, winning is what sells. Like, you can never go wrong with promoting a winner. But we're not seeing that as the strategy. Again, I don't know what it's hard to determine what LIV Golf's strategy is, and if it's comprehensive. But it does seem they want to favor the I guess traditionally marketable stars, the guys that it on paper it makes sense, but let's say he goes off and wins another one or two tournaments this year. Give that man his props. And maybe a new contract. Give him a raise.
Yeah, definitely.
That's it for DP World Tour really wasn't worth mentioning this week. I'm not gonna go into it. I didn't watch it.
They didn't have coverage on TV. You had to find a way to watch them. You had to literally search how to find. Like, it was the Hainan Classic. It was another Asian tour. It was another Asian tour sanctioned event. So they got, a bunch of those players in there. Cool. Let us see it. There was plenty of time, even with the double coverage of Chevron, to have multiple hours of seeing that late night. Wednesday, 10 p.m., perfect timing. Thursday, 11 p.m. to 2. Give us 3 hours and we'll call it a day. Give us something. Because I don't want to watch 4 replays of the Zurich or, and they not replaying the Chevron. God knows why. So, again, give us the DP World Tour, please.
Well, I think this is a perfect illustration of two tours going in the opposite direction. While I think we've said the LPGA has the highest trajectory right now, the DP World Tour is on a slide. And the sad part for you and I, because we're both, like, we used to be DP World Tour, European Tour junkies, right? When we first got into the game, I would watch that. I would stay up late every week to watch the DP World Tour. There were guys that were just kind of quirky and different, but I mean, at this point, the good guys are coming over to the PGA Tour. You know, we saw some leave for Live. The schedule is kind of been crappy as of late for the DP World Tour. Like this week, they have the Turkish Airlines Open um, at a club that I don't think I've heard of in Turkey. Um, and then we go into the PGA Championship.
Yeah.
It's pretty poor, man. I mean, actually, they're off this week. That Turkish Airlines Open is
Next week.
2 weeks out. Yeah, so they're off another week. Yeah, I'm
That's
mourning.
usually where they play the Turkish Airlines Open.
I know, but it's not.
Because
Hopefully
remember
the
they
coverage is.
they do the night golf stuff there and everything like that.
Yeah, I don't know,
Um,
man. It's just not been something to get excited about as of late. That's kind of where it's at. It's just been
yeah,
an afterthought. Sorry, I missed this one. Every time I turn Live on, hardly any fans at the tournaments at all. It's true. I mean, they're just not a major draw. Um, for some reason, some of my vids that I put out on TikTok about me and my daughter's visit to Live Golf Dallas last year keep like randomly getting some traction. And I looked back at that event and just while it has potential, again, just hard to the vision. It's hard to see their vision. Um, the way the tournament that we went to was so badly set up. It wasn't a spectator friendly course. So I mean, a couple of hours is all we could stand. Um,
yeah.
it was in the middle of the summer in Texas, which is the wrong place to have a tournament. It was
Music
just
blaring.
hot, music blasting, two trees on the entire course to get shade under. Like I said, it's hard to see the vision what they got going on. Let's anything else from golf you want to touch base on before we segue into NBA?
Um, hey, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. I will say this, not to plug anything, but we have played that course. We played TPC Craig Ranch. It is a very nice course, and
I
it
know. I
also
tell
get
everybody.
we so. I will say this. So I sent me and Ryder constantly sending each other golf memes and golf posts and stuff like that. I sent him a post about Craig Ranch and how it was coming along and what the rough was looking like. And I mean, when we played it, the rough wasn't even that bad in comparison to like rough we've seen on
Oh,
TV, rough they played
bruh, it's
in.
gonna be juicy.
It's gonna be juicy, but these guys are still so good at the game. They're playing a different game than we play because they're still looking at the greens. They're still looking at carry yardages to see where I can get it above, where I can get it at the green. Our caddy, when he saw us in the rough, he was like, "Yeah, I think you get a wedge out here, get it back in the fairway somewhere,
Right.
and give yourself a chance to get it on the green and save par." I mean, that's what the rough was like when we played it, and it wasn't even that bad. We just don't play the same game as them. We don't have the
No.
same. We don't come down with the same descent angle. The contact isn't nearly as clean. It's unreal the stuff they do from the
Yeah.
rough compared to what we do.
And the video you sent me was from a couple weeks ago, and we've been getting quite a bit of rain
It's
since
gonna
then.
grow even thicker.
Yeah, they're going to keep it thick. And notice that, I mean, if you've been watching the PGA Tour this year, with the exception of the Houston Open, rough has been up. And at
Yeah,
every tour stop this year, they've been, putting the rough up. I mean, that's how you
yeah,
defend these modern day courses against super low scoring. Now, mind you, TPC Craig Ranch has some pretty generous fairways. So they're you're going to see a lot of fairways hit.
yeah,
They are wide. I mean, they're accessible. But when they get in the rough, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I'm very interested to see if people will have to play out for safety and approach. It is typically a pretty they go low when they're at TPC Craig Ranch. Um,
which is still
all right,
crazy to
like I
me
said,
because I felt like it wasn't that gettable. Like
this is
there was
true.
a
No, because
there was
the
a few holes that like I felt like for us, like one you have to score. It was like the tees we played, it was like 380. So like them with like a hybrid or an iron, they're still into a wedge. Two is gettable, three is gettable, and then past that, like I'm trying to think about like
the the greens are very sectioned off. So
yeah,
a lot of target golf. You're gonna. I mean, that's where the wedges come into play and are beneficial because you have to hit the right sections of those greens out there.
the par
Um,
threes aren't no joke. They play long. The greens are janky. I mean, bruh. I
and
mean,
wind has been up in North Texas as well. Um, like
not too much
today,
cover.
I think. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty wide open, so it'll be fun. And that's for us personally, since we've had the benefit of playing the course, it feels different each week when this
Yeah,
one comes up. I'll probably try to sneak out there on Saturday or Sunday. Got stuff to do. I
yeah,
know I need to do at home, but um, it's in our backyard, so always something that I try to get out to and walk for a couple of hours. You can catch a cheap ticket on Sunday on like StubHub for cheap and then catch the shuttle. So
yeah.
anyway, so man, NBA Dame time, torn ruptured Achilles. Um, every as someone who has ruptured their Achilles before, anytime I see somebody go down, I know immediately what it is, and I feel bad for him. I know the recovery.
He
Um,
walked. He walked though. He got carried to the sideline and then
right.
tried to walk into the locker room. So I'm like, maybe it's like a calf. Maybe it was a pull or something like that.
Mm-mm.
Man, sad, bro.
When it happens, and it's so interesting because the look on his face as he's sitting on the ground, it's not a super. It's weird to explain because again, if you your Achilles holds essentially your calf taut and pulled down, so when it starts retracting pretty much
Right, that
immediately.
tension.
Yeah, a little bit of nerve pain, like a burning sensation, at least for me.
Damn.
Um, yeah, and you just shake your head because you're like shit. So like I said, I feel bad. The road to recovery. It made me start looking up players who have ruptured their Achilles, and not many have made it back successfully. I think the most successful return I would say in recent history is Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
which
KD.
he ruptured. Yeah, he ruptured his in 2019. Clearly, still playing the game. Probably still not the athlete that he was prior to the rupture. But guys are able to make it back a lot quicker. One of my favorites was the original, that ruptured his is Dominic Wilkins. And it pretty much was a career ender for him. Just
Yeah,
because the technology wasn't there in terms of repair, recovery was really long. And you were always a high risk to rupture it again
yeah.
back in those days.
Especially with
So,
an explosive game like his. I mean,
yeah,
even his
yeah,
jump shot, he jumping high.
right.
He
Yeah.
one of them.
Neek was otherworldly when it came to the hops.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Dave, for, it's going to be a long recovery. We probably won't see him till the end of next year. He's well into his 30s, so
We might
not
not
a
even
super
see him.
athletic.
We might not see him, but the jumper's still gonna reign supreme. He'll still be able to get his rocks off. So he'll take the week, he'll take the year. He'll still be under contract with Milwaukee under their rebuild because Giannis isn't gonna resign. He going somewhere. And then, he might ride off into the sunset somewhere else, contend, once he gets back healthy and stuff like that. But yeah, I think he's once he comes back from the
Are the
Achilles, I think he's a designated second tier like point guard. I don't know if he starts
Oh
again,
yeah.
I think he's just, or he comes off
he
the bench
starts
and
on
he's
the
like,
he starts on the bad team.
he's a 6-man on a contender.
Yeah.
He's like a
You
lightning
think
in a bottle.
do the Mavs have the cap space to sign Giannis?
No.
We can't go max
Even
deal.
we'd have to go
Even
into
I mean,
we'd have to go into the luxury tax. We'd have to drop off AD's contract, not that penalizing. Kyrie's contract, not that penalizing. They're raising the salary cap. So we'll get a little bit of leeway there. Maybe we sign him in his first year. It's a cheapie, and then he gets, gradually more. But I
I
don't know
mean,
if we need that much.
I mean, we'd be one of the longest teams in the NBA, even with the
Truly.
Kyrie at point guard. You think about the front court with Gafford.
Giannis plays a 3.
Right.
AD plays 4. Lively plays 5. Gafford coming off the bench 5. Clay is the 2.
Long,
length
baby.
for days. Pause. But
there. I mean, there you go. There's Nico Harrison's dream of a defensive squad. Maybe we were wrong. And
hopefully Nico's
is a
not there to make
genius.
that decision.
You got to cut that man. You got to just. You got to get rid of him.
This summer is going to be so long for Dallas, man. Oh, he's going to have to fight the allegations all summer, man. Oh my God. But yeah. I know he at the crib cheesing because Luka got exposed this last game.
Yeah, the bad defense is back.
Ooh, boy. Oh, he's a cone. Boy. Now, granted, he coming off of sickness. He had the flu or whatever. I don't know. But oh man, the energy level wasn't there. He didn't even have like that little shiftiness to get by anybody. I mean,
he doesn't even have the fake effort going on.
He don't.
He had a little bit of pep in his step when he first went to the Lakers, and it felt like LeBron, was really teaching the team defense, right? Because I saw an interesting. I want to say it was
being able to
TikTok
recover
today.
And stuff like that.
But this guy was talking about, the current NBA is the weakest link, and whether that's like top to bottom, you can't have just a horrible player on either side of the ball, right? Like you can't have a guy in the NBA today that absolutely cannot shoot the shots that other teams are forcing him into, right? So if you're big, isn't willing to score off the block if given the opportunity, a 1 through 3 that doesn't shoot the three ball well, you can't have that. On D, exactly. On D, having somebody like Luka where everybody's having to recover and switch off and find the open guy constantly is a team killer. It's just not sustainable. So I thought that was a very interesting concept and kind of this, take on today's NBA. But I thought it was very accurate that it's tough with Luka out there on the court.
Yeah.
I know you've been watching the Detroit New York series. It's been I wish Detroit would have been able to pull out the game this past weekend. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get the win at home. But Jalen Brunson, I think, has been listening to the criticism. A lot less head bobbing, a lot less dramatics going to the hole. Just been playing ball, but still balling out. You still think he's bobbing?
Boy, hey, that New York game, that game 2, boy, it was despicable. It was crazy work. Now, our TV and stuff is like that. I don't know what's going on at the shop, but our TV is down, our cable box is down. I don't know. Nobody wants to do the diagnostics. So we didn't get a chance to watch Detroit, New York until I was like rushing home, but I ended up grabbing lunch, and then like by the time I got in the door, it was already on the LA Timberwolves game. And then I'm checking my hoop group chat, and they talking about Tim Hardaway got fouled. I'm like, damn, what
Oh,
did
he
I miss?
did.
Oh, he for sure
Oh,
got fouled.
oh,
I saw the
absolutely.
replay. He definitely got fouled. But at one point, Detroit was up 10 or like 8. Like,
So here's my assessment of what. Yeah, no doubt they had the game under control. I think this is. I think in the future, and you called it. Kudos to you. You called it that Detroit was going to be better. I didn't think they were going to be playoff better, but you called it. Props to you for assessing that. I just thought they had too much scar tissue from the losing from these past years,
yeah,
but great season. Cade Cunningham is going to have to learn playoff basketball. Late in the game, homeboy was getting too cute on the splits, trying to get through pick and rolls and split the defenders.
yeah, you're not getting them
And
calls.
no, and it was like him trying to like extend dribble through the defenders, and it resulted in turnovers or just janky possessions. He's
Yeah,
gonna have to figure out the playoff game, get a little bit tougher. I hate that. I kind of hate them going straight ISO at the end of the game because that's what New York does.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. It's not
like
a good look.
Jalen Brunson was just killing it at the end of this last game, and it really made the ISO look good. Cade Cunningham is going to have to figure that out without bringing a help defender because I think they would
Yeah,
let him go solo and just live with it. But yeah, I see the potential, but he's still learning. Right, this is his first exposure to this level of competition. It's a different level of intensity. The fact that they had a packed house in Detroit reminded me of old school,
refreshing.
right? It really was. But I mean, this is the first NBA playoffs I paid attention to first round in a long time. But it's been
Yeah,
some pretty good basketball.
absolutely. Denver Clippers on paper was going to be a good series, and it's coming into the forefront. It has definitely been the best series so far. Detroit and New York has been a second best, and then Golden State Houston is just a rivalry, that's been going on since 2018.
Bro,
So
the it's chippy. I'm telling you, when we
yeah, well, they
we
both
switched
got dirty
topics.
players.
Oh yeah. Brooks is up in there. Jimmy Butler's gonna be in the middle of some stuff.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
It's messy. So,
oh yeah. Houston's got to
um,
get over the hump though, because Golden State still got their number. That's the only reason why they
no
won
doubt.
last game. Golden State shouldn't have won that game. Houston couldn't hit any wide open shots. They play like Jalen Green. Look, I'm not saying I'm a Jalen Green fan, but I like what Jalen Green is starting to become. But he didn't make the leap like Cade Cunningham made the leap.
No, no, he's got to do some off season work.
The
He's
IQ
still
ain't
relying.
there.
No,
The
he's
IQ
relying
ain't
on
there.
straight
Natural
athleticism.
ability, yeah. And then Goon, he's got to get out of his own head. I mean, it's kind of it's just kind of frustrating to watch him play sometimes. And then he's so mentally fatigued. I don't want to say weak, but he definitely it be nagging at him a lot. And it's like, bro, if he had the fortitude to just lock in a few times, I think he'd be all right. I honestly
Yeah,
think that he could still be a good 4 if they brought in Steven Adams to be like an actual 5 or whatnot. But yeah, man, Houston's close, man. But yeah, they don't have enough to fully get over the hump. But next
yeah,
year might be a different situation. They might have a younger point lead guard in there. Fred VanVleet, his trip might be over with Houston. Hopefully,
yeah,
Jalen Green continues to develop
yeah.
mentally. I don't know, man.
Van Fleet has his
His time
best
has
days
passed.
were left in Toronto. Yeah,
Yeah, his time has passed, but they need a vet leader like that, though. Like he's still great as far as leading them. he just can't get no buckets no more. It's just not there for him. It's not in the cards. Like
No.
game one, my hoop group chat, everybody called out the same thing. Fred VanVleet does not need to shoot 19 times in a game ever. Ever. And then the fact that he went 4 for 19 or 5 for 19, even more reason, bro. Even
He
more
just
reason.
can't get the separation that he once did. He's just lost a slight step. Clearly not the tallest guy, and he's needed that little, just that little, slight little separation to get off clean jumpers. Yeah.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Anyway, good.
Yeah, overall,
good
great playoff basketball. Yeah, no, for sure. Even sorry as Orlando beat up Orlando and pushing off Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Boy, they just too elite on offense to push off. I hate that shit. Y'all are too good offensively to push off. I hate that, bro. You don't need to create separation like that.
Thank God the Miami series is over. I turned the TV on. They were down like 56. That's sad.
Right.
They already had
I woke up from my nap. It was 45-18. I was like, let me go. Let me turn back over. Right. Oh my God, bro.
It's crazy.
Oh my God.
All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. Another Monday show. We'll look forward to talking about the Black Desert Classic on the LPGA, the Nelson here, and that's really it. I mean, the old guys might be playing.
Yeah, Champions Tour's got something going on. If y'all want to flip over to that, if they show, they only be showing like an hour and a half of coverage of them, but if you so may choose, it'll be on.
I know. Liv may be playing this week. Maybe not. I mean, it seems too close for them to do back-to-back weeks. So,
right.
Yeah, but we'll be back. We'll be back. A lot more playoff basketball coming. Leading up to the not PGA Tour, but the PGA Championship coming in a couple weeks. I'm excited. To see that the Truist at that Philadelphia Cricket and Golf Club. I sent you that video. That shit looks pure.
Yeah, it looks
I'm
good.
excited to see that on TV.
Also, if you're a real junkie, which me and Rod are, the PGA Professionals is on Sunday through Wednesday before the pros come on. So they have 20 spots up for grabs to get into the PGA Championship because there's going to be PGA members in the PGA. So that's Sunday was the first round. Wednesday will be the final round. I think it's top 20, no ties or something like that. So that'll be something to dive into.
Are they doing it at Phil's Ranch this year again, or where are they holding it?
It's somewhere in Florida this year. I just looked it up too. I don't know. Okay. I'll send you a link or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Peter Rose Golf Show. We're back at it again. We will see y'all next Monday. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Later, y'all. Y'all have a good week.
Peace.